Welcome to our course on Revit Structural Detailing, for designing and detailing of reinforced concrete structures. This time, we bring you a step-by-step course that will take you to the whole process of modeling and detailing the reinforcement steel design of a reinforced concrete building. From the configuration of the structural project, to the placement of bars, stirrups, and hooks, so we can assemble the reinforcing steel. Nevertheless, worth noting that while Revit does provide an ample set of tools for assisting us in the modeling of our design, it doesn't offer any structural analysis capabilities. Thus, during this course, we'll solely focus on the modeling aspect of the design. For this purpose, we'll start this course by configuring our project from architectural to structural. Namely, we'll operate under the assumption that the architectural model has already been provided to us, and that now we have the task of generating the structural proposal. This means that the first step would be to create and configure all the corresponding structural views throughout the project. And once we have obtained these views, we'll continue with the placement of the needed rebar elements. Through this process, we'll approach multiple concepts such as the different placement methods and techniques available for the structural rebar tool, since this is the main mean for the modeling of rebar elements in Revit. It's through this particular tool that we'll be able of placing elements such as bars, stirrups, and hooks. Moreover, we'll also observe how we may use this tool for generating customized rebar shapes. All this with the purpose of obtaining the reinforcing steel for elements such as beams, columns, retaining walls, and footings. Of course, this whole process wouldn't be complete without the placement of the rebar area pertaining to slabs. And with the completion of the design for the reinforcing steel, another very important subject that we'll approach is the generation of the corresponding details and documentation for the structural project. To complete this task, we'll take care of placing all the proper annotation instances such as tags and dimensions. However, while the placement of tags may be a process already familiar to you, we'll also take care of using those pertaining to the structural category, since these will facilitate the identification of the multiple rebar elements that integrate the reinforcing steel. And once you have learned to obtain the design details of the reinforcement for elements such as beams and footings, we'll continue with the integration of all these details into the corresponding drawings. Namely, we'll take care of producing the documentation of the project, including the rebar schedule, and which will allow us to obtain the quantification data of the structural project, such as the rebar quantity, diameters, length, and even type of stirrups and hooks. Additionally, along with the process involving the modeling of the reinforcement, we'll approach relevant aspects of the design process such as the definition of the rebar cover, and multiple placement and distribution techniques for the rebar elements. So all these concepts and more will be widely covered in our course of Revit Structural Detailing, for designing and detailing of reinforced concrete structures.